Tell me it's fine. So,
Okay.
as we were praying, I noticed Nicole had a long and elaborate vision for Tim. I don't know what it is, so but he told me to catch up with you. So here we are. Today we're praying for Tim.
Okay. I actually saw Tim down on the road over by where the boat is, kind of going down that hill. And he had his phone in his hand. And on his phone was something that was drawn in sand. And so he was looking at it and then drawing it on
Tim is here. Come
the ground in sand.
Nicole had a vision for you. You don't want to hear it? Up to you. Here I am.
Do you want me to
Start over.
Okay. Okay, so I you down on the road down here by the boat, going down that hill. And you were standing and you were facing up the hill. And you had a phone in your hand, and it had some sort of design written in sand on the phone. And you were looking at the phone to take direction from it to draw it on the ground in sand. And you kept looking at the phone, looking at the ground, and just making sure that you got it just right. And then after that, you kind of backed away from it. And out of it grew this really, really huge, almost like a Jack and the Beanstalk kind of style. But it was bamboo. And
What? The sand into bamboo?
what?
Like a stalk shot up out of the ground.
Out of the ground?
Yeah.
From the root? You travel? Okay.
Out of the sand.
The sand. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And it was like a shoot of bamboo, but it had these leaves on it. And you looked up and you watched it. You watched it growing. And then in your phone, you had your hand. And you kept looking at your phone and then looking at the bamboo stalk and making a decision. And then the decision was made, and you dropped the phone and you grabbed a hold of a leaf. They were pretty big, like those ones. And it took you up pretty high. And then you didn't quite make it, but there was this separation between earth and like a spiritual heavenly kingdom. And it didn't take you to the top. You had to climb a little bit once you got there. And then once you got there, you broke through and were in the heavenlies, in like heaven, I don't know, where the throne of the Lord was. So as soon as you got out, you were standing there right where you got up on top, and you began to talk, and you were telling the Lord something about what was down there. And you had a full understanding of something that you were explaining and talking and pointing down, and I could just see you talking like you normally, do when you're explaining something to somebody with wisdom and stuff. And so then after that, you actually approached the throne of the Father, and you came up beside him, and he had opened in his hands a scroll, and you actually leaned into him, and you began to draw. You drew a cross, but you were also explaining something. I don't know if you were it seems weird that you would be explaining to the Father something on a scroll he had, but that's sort of what it looked like. It was, you were talking to him about it, and going through passionately what your thoughts and ideas and plans were and whatever was on there. And then after that, he rolled it up and handed it to you, and you ate it. And then once you had eaten it, I stayed here for a minute with the Lord because you, thank you. Okay. You stood there and you didn't go anywhere, and you didn't talk anymore. You just stood there, and it was, you were wearing what you were wearing. I know everybody keeps saying that tonight. You were wearing what you were wearing. But you weren't standing still. You were standing ready, if that makes sense. Ready, just kind of, not antsy, but ready. But you no longer said things out loud. You just stood there with I don't know if you were pondering things, thinking through things, deciding things, but something was happening. Thoughts were going, something was happening at that point. And that's where it ended.
That's it?
That's it.
Nothing else?
No, because I was in that place watching him for a long time, being like, okay, what are you going to do now? And I didn't see you go anywhere or do anything after that. presence in that place.
Really nice. Okay.